Today on this 2012 Jeep Liberty, we'll be having a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Brake-Lite relay kit for towed vehicles. Part number RM-88400. So when we don't have a brake-light relay installed on our towed vehicle, when we are towing it behind our motorhome and our turn signal is on and then our brakes are depressed, we have the issue of our brake lights coming on our towed vehicle overriding the turn signal from our motorhome. Now with the brake light relay installed and operating, when we step on the brakes on our RV with our turn signal on, our brake signal does not override the turn signal function when the brakes are applied inside of our towed vehicles with the supplemental braking system. Now that we've gone over some features, we'll show you how to get it installed. To begin our install, we'll find ourselves underneath the dash on the driver's side of our vehicle. We find this fabric panel that sits above where our feet rest while we're driving. We'll need to remove this. We have two plastic rivets. The way these work, use a flathead screwdriver, twist out the center section, and come behind it, and then pull out the entire piece. Then the panel will come down. Now if we look right above our brake pedal, you'll see a bundle of wires going to a switch. This is our brake pedal switch. This is what we need to test to find out where the cold side is. And what that means is there's no power going through it until we step on the brake pedal. Now we're going to test this with a multimeter, and we're going to do what's called a back probe technique so we don't damage the wires. We have our multimeter grounded to a bolt on the vehicle's body, and if we just insert this pin into the back of the connector, we're not piercing the wire at all, and it's not damaging any of the connection points. So we have it back probed into one of our wires right now. This is the white wire with a green stripe. So now we can test to make sure that we are only getting power to this wire, and we're looking for 12 volts of power when the brake pedal is depressed. Okay, with our hand or foot off the brake pedal, you can see we're getting 0 volts. When I press down the brake pedal, we get 12 volts. That is exactly what we're looking for. That is the cold side of our brake light switch. So it's the white wire with the green stripe. That is the wire that we're going to be making our connections with. And now to make it easier to work with, we will unhook our brake light switch. Okay, this red lock tab, which is right by my finger on the other side of this connector right here, we slid that back. There's a black tab right here by my thumb. Press this down and pull back on the connector to unplug it. Okay, so here's all of the wires in our connector. Here's the white wire with the green stripe. This is the wire we're going to be working with. We'll cut it right in the middle and strip back some insulation from both wires. Okay, for our purposes, since we're putting in a supplemental braking system, I already did a little bit of pre-assembly here so to work with our braking system. Our wire colors are all the same. Our white wires are ground. Our green wire goes to our vehicle's cold side of the brake switch wire that's closest to the switch. The black wire goes to that same wire furthest away from that switch, and the red wire will go to a fuse underneath the hood that only has power when the ignition is turned on. Now for our application, we will not be using this blue wire, so we can simply remove it. You can just pull it straight out of the connector and it releases. Butt connector here off our green wire. This will go to the side of our wire closest to the switch that we cut. The black wire goes to the side furthest from the switch. Now we'll use a heat gun, which we have available on our website if you'd like to purchase one, to shrink down our butt connectors. The reason you use a heat gun versus a lighter is because it provides you with a source of indirect heat versus direct heat, and it won't damage the connector. Now we'll plug our brake light switch back in. We'll make sure we secure the lock tab. Okay, we find ourselves underneath the hood now on the driver's side of the vehicle, right next to our master cylinder and brake booster. Now, if your vehicle is equipped with a manual transmission, you will not have this grommet. You will have to drill a hole elsewhere or pass through a different existing grommet. But right here, we have a grommet, which we can remove to pass our wires through to the engine bay. So you just grab it, pull it out, and behind that, you'll find a piece of foam. You just poke your finger through and make the hole a little bit wider. Okay, we went ahead and put our red wire through with our fuse holder through the hole in the firewall. It's routed accordingly. It's right next to our fuse box now, and this is where we need to make our connection. So we'll lift up on these two tabs, tilt the fuse box forward, pull up, and the lid will pop off. Now the fuse that we're looking for is one that's only going to have power when the ignition is switched on. This fuse here is for fuse number M7, which is for our power outlet. So we'll take a pair of those pliers or a fuse puller, whatever you have. Remove the fuse. Okay, now we'll take our fuse tap and our fuse, combine the two by sticking up one leg of the fuse through the slot in the tap, and we'll reinstall the fuse. Now we'll take our wire that ran through the firewall, insert it onto the leg of the tap. Okay, now we'll take a pair of side cutters here and make a notch so our wire has a place to pass through cleanly and doesn't get pinched. We'll drape it down and we can reinstall the cover. Okay, now our white wire with the ring terminal, that's our ground. We're just going to ground this to the vehicle sheet metal with the provided self-tapping screw. Right in this area here behind our brake pedal will be fine. We'll start our self-tapping screw first to make it easier. And that'll give us a nice solid ground. Now our relay, we can plug into our socket. It's keyed, so it only goes in one way. Just line it up appropriately and push it into place. Now that we have everything connected, it's always a good idea to secure up your wiring in a place where it's not going to be interfering with the pedals or your feet as you're driving. Once you have that done, you're ready to hit the road. And that completes our look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Brake-Lite Relay Kit for towed vehicles, part number RM-88400 on this 2012 Jeep Liberty.